Okay, this is a set I'm going to attempt to illustrate, and I'll tell you why. I use this a lot in the woods. And of course it's an excellent raccoon because usually you're up against a big tree. If you pick the biggest tree in the area, quite often the raccoon are already using it either for a landmark or a den, or just they like to climb up in the big trees for whatever reason. So of course this is a dirt hole, but part of the reason I'm doing this is because there's a big controversy on Facebook about using fence staples. And I'm going to go over here. I hope you can see that. The fence staple really isn't an issue because you're using it down here in the root. You're not using it up in the timber that's going to be used. Now on a trap like this, this is a 1 3/4 bridger. It's got extra springs on it. That's more for if I catch a coyote or something, but it comes up through better too. And it's got a stop shock. And I would put the staple right here after the stop shock. So you have, I don't know, a little less than a foot of chain. And you're putting this staple in. Sometimes I'll leave them just a little bit out so I can get my claw hammer under there later. But you don't want super thick bark, and this is a solid tree. I'm going to dig a trap bed, just like the woods. Nothing's fancy. I hope I'm still on the camera here. I have a tripod, but it's a very small tripod, so I have it set up on a block of wood, piece of firewood. So I always make the trap bed kind of small at first, so you can see how this trap sits in there already. But now I just pound in for my levers just a little bit. Maybe scoop out the center a little more because I want a hollow underneath there. The way the trap sits is it should be all 4 corners of the jaws on something solid. Very important. If you got that part down, a lot of your extra packing doesn't really need to be. You don't need to spend as much time on that because the trap's already sitting solid. Now, I will pack this. This is very dry dirt compared to what you get a lot of times during trapping season. This is real nice to work with, but it doesn't pack as well. But that's feeling pretty solid right there. Now you can cover this. You can sift this dirt over this. Another way, especially if you're coon trapping and you just want to make things quick, this is just shredded leaves, and it looks super natural in the woods. And it's not totally freeze proof, but it doesn't freeze easily. I mean, if you get a hard rain and a freeze, you get a crust like anything else, but it doesn't freeze near as easily as dirt. I could have used peat moss, of course. Now, I would cover this up. Even if I'm fox trapping, I'll use a stepping stick, or I should say a guide stick or two. I won't go crazy with it. Now, if it's coon, you can block it in as tight as you want. If you're trapping fish or bobcat, you can block it in real tight. Normally, I have something like this. Now, you get one that'll stay in there. You want it set in there solid. Kind of funny. When I took instructions from Johnny Thorpe, he didn't like that. It's like, don't put them sticks in there, they end up in the trap. Well, that's never been an issue for me, so I like to use them. You don't want something like that getting in your trap bed. Plugging your trap out for these little sticks. So of course I would lure it, or I would bait it, probably because you can't get a real deep hole here because of the roots. Sometimes you have a huge hole in there, it's already loose, and you can just go as deep as you want, but a lot of times I'll put a liquid bait, let it soak in the bottom so the shallow hole isn't a big issue, and then put some lure up here on the tree to kind of reach out, and you'll catch everything. You catch red fox in these, and lots of coon, of course, fish are, I haven't caught a bobcat in one yet. Well, I have something similar, not this exact set. But anyways, that's that.